What is something someone said that changed your way of thinking forever? You will meet people that see a lot more in you than you see in yourself. It's crazy and kind of unbelievable, but that's what love is. It's from a deleted Reddit account. Reminds me of a quote from the movie Mozart and the Whale. You can't disappoint me, because whatever you are is exactly what I want. How you live each day is how you live your life. Simplistic, I know. Up until the point that I heard that from a friend, I had all these awesome ideas of who I was gonna be and what I wanted to do. But hearing this made me realize I wasn't going to do or be any of the things I thought unless I started living them each day. My brother was battling cancer and had to have a bone marrow transplant. He would have to come spend 2 months with me because the town he was getting treatment in didn't have a hospital that did the procedure. I was fresh out of college living in what was essentially bachelor pad. We had a regular at the restaurant I was working at, Dr. J, who always asked about my brother's progress. When I told him about the next step, he stopped me mid-sentence and says to me, "Your family is staying with me." He insisted because he lived out in the country, on a lake, and it would be very peaceful, refusing any sort of compensation. Not to mention my mom and brother would have privacy because they would be staying in the mother-in-law suite that was separate from the home. It brought tears to my eyes and I couldn't stop thanking him. Dr. J then says to me, "There's no need to thank me. It's an honor to do good." Those words will ring with me forever. That man and his wife are some of the most caring and altruistic humans I know. Goddamn it, I just got home from the bars, and you've got me blubbering. That's beautiful. Hope your brother is doing well. A sergeant of mine in the Marine Corps once told me no matter how big the plate in front of you is, the only way to finish it is one bite at a time. It's amazing how many times over the years I've had to remind myself of this great piece of advice. Good answer. Now shut your cocksucker and push till the ground moves. I'm a software engineer and tend to do my best work when I am around people that are better than me. This quote has always stuck with me and I make a lot of decisions with it in mind. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Not all your friends need to be forever friends. Some people are just meant to be your friend for that particular time in your life. And that doesn't make it any less meaningful. The connections you had were real and important, and the growth you gained from it is yours to keep forever. Do you feel victory when your words cause pain? I grew up in an abusive environment and I left it, but it took years for me to leave the actions I'd learned behind as well. I wasn't a good person because I had no example. Being a good person is all I want to be. Whoa, this hits home. I got out of an abusive relationship horrified to find myself repeating the abuser's behavior. I had no idea how difficult it is to break free from it. When you are torn between two choices, always pick the one that will make the best story. Grandpa always said this, and once I started following it, life became a lot more interesting. And that's how Grandpa stopped being a mediocre painter and started a new German empire, kids. When I was 12, I was criticizing someone's project in shop class. A girl came up to me and told me very calmly, "You're always criticizing people. Why are you so mean?" It was a very simple thing to say, but it hit me hard while my personality was still developing. I think her neutral tone was important too. Something clicked, and I realized she was right. I was kind of an butthole. It changed the way I behaved forever. I guarantee she does not remember the exchange, or even me at all. Sometimes it doesn't have to be something poetically profound, just something true said with honesty at the right time in your life. An amateur practices until he can play it correctly. A professional practices until he can't play it incorrectly. Similarly, the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried was an offhand comment from a friend to get me to play chess with him, and it stuck with me. As a teenager I started pouting after a coach yelled at me. He looked at me, said, "The time to worry is when I quit yelling at you, because that means I've decided you're not worth the effort." I've got an older colleague at my IT job who said something similar. He's known for being quite a harsh joker anyway, but there was one time he had just finished joking about a release I'd put out and said something along the lines of, "If I actually thought you and your code weren't any good, I wouldn't say anything." If you don't have time to do it right, you must have time to do it over. This is what my username is named after. When my parents first met, my dad took my mom out every Friday night and would look forward to Fridays all week long because of it. Years ago, when I was down about something, he told me about how he was in a rut until he found what made him happy, and that was all the Fridays he spent with my mother. He told me to find my Friday, find what makes you happy and go after it. So that's what I do. I try to better myself and really focus on the things and people that make me happy. I could see this idea becoming a really good film plot. Sounds cliche and stupid, but don't let anyone or anything live in your head for rent free. Heard that on my first day in drug treatment. Almost have 2 years sober. Interesting. I wonder if it has any relation to the ancient Greek saying that translates, roughly, to don't live in my head. You've got your own house. My wife was the first person to tell me that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It gets attributed to a number of people who probably didn't say it, but it really hit home when she was the one who told me. Reminds me of a quote by Buddha: holding on to anger is like holding on to a piece of hot coal preparing to throw it at someone. You're the one who gets burned. It was a comment I saw on Reddit a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember it verbatim, but it was something along the lines of how parents raise good children but should instead be raising good adults. The thought blew my mind and really got me thinking. Let kids be kids. Let them screw up occasionally and let them be sad every now and then. They're only preparing themselves for the real world and will be ready to face it when the time comes. Most parents do a great job raising good children, and when those kids grow up, they're clueless how to handle real world problems. Wish I had a link to the comment to credit the user that posted that comment. I was in San Francisco on a school trip and I went out of our hostel for a cigarette. I was going through some crap at the time and wasn't handling it well. A homeless man came up and asked for a cig. So I gave him one and he sat and smoked with me. He asked what was bothering me, so I told him I was having some trouble with my girlfriend but I was okay, and he told me something I've never forgotten. Son, stop pretending you're okay. You're not okay. Sometimes in life crap happens and you won't be okay, but that's okay. Really resonated with me. Helped me come to terms with a lot of things in the years since. I was worried about being a bad father. Then someone told me a bad father wouldn't worry about being a bad father. Blew all my doubts away in a microsecond. So you've stopped worrying. I was in McDonald's with my dad when I was around 10-year-old. I remember him asking me to take the tray to the bin at the end and I said that's their jobs. Someone else will do it. My dad said someday you may have to do a job you don't particularly like and that other people could make easier or more difficult for you. You'll wish they made it easier. 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 Similar experience, but I got. With that kind of attitude, you'll be the one clearing the trays. If you want to be good at something, you first must be willing to be bad at it. My guitar teacher said this to me after I expressed that I felt like giving up because I wasn't making the progress I thought I should be making. It made a lot of sense to me and it helps motivate me whenever I attempt something new. Sucking at something is the first step to being sorta good at something. Jake the dog. I remember seeing this guy going above and beyond all the time. Always going the extra mile. I asked him why and he said something kind of cryptic, but it blew me away at the time. To do what ought to be done, but would not have been done unless I did it. I thought to be my duty. Now that I'm a father, I'm saying this crap to myself every day. Whatever crawls up his butt won't give me a bellyache. My granddad allows me to distance myself from other people's drama. On a familiar note, a Polish proverb. Not my circus, not my monkeys. That crap kept me away from drama for a long time when I tried to help people out in their problems. Everyone is the main character of their life. Now I stop and think whenever someone is being self-absorbed, it's just they're excited over something that happened in their life because that's what's most important to them. A similar one. No one thinks of themselves or their motives as evil. Very important when writing antagonists in fiction. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Stephen McCraney. Saw it first on Reddit and it stuck with me. A ship in port is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Think about it whenever I feel like staying in my comfort zone. Smooth seas never made a skilled sailor. That's similar. I've seen it on Reddit. After my 6-year relationship ended, I felt lost. I felt like the future I had planned out, children, home, etc., were all lost. I was devastated. Then my cousin told me, "Sounds like you're more upset about losing your future than you are of losing him. You can't expect someone to take care of you. Only you can take care of you." I stuck to that mentality for years after that. Every job has stuff in it you hate. The question is really if the stuff you love about the job outweighs the parts you don't like. At the time I was feeling guilty because I was in a patch where I was having a rough time with my job, which is a competitive dream job, so I felt like I didn't have a right to complain and felt guilty for not liking that part of it. But she reminded me it's okay to not like things and remember why I wanted the job in the first place. My old biology teacher told me don't judge a book by its cover, but be careful about the library it's in. Basically, a good judge of character is the people the other person hangs out with. Still get to know them, hence the don't judge a book by its cover bit, but at the same time watch out for the social habits they have. If they hang around crappy people and do crappy things, maybe they aren't the best fit for you. I've always known this to an extent, but I never realized how family could play a role in this. If you don't like someone's family and they spend a lot of time with those family members, chances are they haven't seen the light and will end up exactly like their crappy parents. Met this cool Italian guy going to an AC/DC concert on a plane once and we started talking for a while. Once we landed and knew we wouldn't see each other again, he just said, "Hey man, have a good life." But just stuck with me and thought to myself, you know what, I will. Have been ever since. What a simple sentence from a stranger. Those kind of meetings are the one that leave a mark in your life. Great perception from you too. If you can't explain it, you don't know it. This has fricked with me for a long time. I don't say much because I end up doubting myself. While I consider that to be true, remember that trying to explain something is a great way of getting to understanding. You are far more worried about what you say and do than anyone else is. Tell that to everyone I threw up on in college. Some doors are closed for a reason. Completely changed my life. I used to always be up into everyone's business, inviting them to share. Do you want to talk about it, even pressuring when they didn't feel like it? After all, I believed, if you talk about it, you'll feel better. Truth is, people need to be able to control who they discuss their problems with and choose their own time for it when they discuss it with others. And the last thing they need is some butthole encouraging them to open up. Get off their backs. If they're not sharing their problems with you, assume there's a dang good reason and let it go. If they need you, they will find you. Another truth is, learn this from a psychologist. Sometimes people just need to stop talking about their problems and move on with their life. Not everything is closure. You don't make peace with every tragedy. Happiness is not waiting for you if only you can come to terms with your childhood or some tragedy. Some mental wounds are like physical wounds. If you keep picking at the scab, it will never heal. Time heals most things, but you have to let it. Also, there is the insight fallacy, the belief that understanding a problem will change it. Not necessarily true. We can get stuck trying to help people get to the bottom of their issues without realizing that it might not make a difference anyway. A greasy looking guy in a trailer park in Canada once stumbled up to me, drunk and high, wearing ripped track pants, and he said we can't call people without wings angels, so we call them friends. And then he stumbled off saying something like gonna get drunk as frick, and I never saw him again. After my wife left me, I had an older co-worker tell me something like this: "Nothing I can say to you is going to make things easier or help you get through this, but just know that I am here to listen if you decide you would like to talk." I was so weighed down with friends and family who loved me giving me unsolicited advice when all I needed was someone who respected me enough to just listen. I always take this approach with people who are going through hard times. If you truly care about them, just listen. Eventually they will ask you for advice. When my dog passed, my grandma told me pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. At first I thought what a pessimistic view this was, but over time I began to recognize the mental fortitude and optimism it contained. I have a rugby hat that says that. Also sorry for your loss. The only time you look in your neighbor's bowl is to make sure that they have enough. You don't look in your neighbor's bowl to see if you have as much as them. Louis C.K. You're 4 years old. There's a huge world out there that you know none % of. You don't get to be bored. I was 34, with few skills, 3 young children, and just finalizing a divorce. When I was discussing what to do with my future, my friend suggested that I return to school, possibly to study my newfound passion for geology. My response was, yeah, but I'll be 40 by the time I graduate. Her life-changing response, you'll be 40 anyway. Now I am 42, and 3 semesters away from completing my 3rd, and last, degree. As a 32-year-old who's looking at going back and being really apprehensive about it, this helps a lot. When I was telling a friend of mine that I have a hard time believing that people can like me, since I don't like myself, she told me we don't see you the way you see yourself. I know that depression alters the way I see the world, and that I see myself not as I should, but hearing that from someone else that actually cares about me really made it real. It's my go-to quote now when I struggle. It made me realize that sometimes I just need to change my perspective. Sorry for rambling so much. I never know how to stop or put anything into words. Sorry for rambling so much. I never know how to stop or put anything into words. Hey, you don't have to be. We're actually glad you shared this, and it was well worded, so no worries. My crazy German hippie godfather once sat me down when I was an angsty self-destructing teen and said, look, Kate, I love you and I will always be here to help you pick up the pieces, but Jesus frick, does there need to be so many pieces? My father told me something similar when I was in the midst of a lot of self-destructive behavior, although was perhaps a bit more blunt. I will always love you. Always. But that doesn't mean I like the person you have become. I think about that a lot. You might be single and laying on the couch and watching Netflix tonight, but I guarantee you there are plenty of guys with bad marriages and kids wishing they were you right now. Help me get through my divorce. Never liked rainy days. Thought they were depressing. One rainy day, my 6-year-old daughter said I love rainy days and being home. I feel all safe and cozy forever changed my rainy day attitude. 25 years ago. I used to work in this mail factory when I was a teenager and, like any teenager, would sometimes frantically struggle to accomplish the most menial of tasks. Enter the quiet, huge gold chain dude from Trinidad. Look mon, you have to make work easy. All you have to do mon, just make work easy. Really simple and profound advice that has helped me in every job I've ever had. Simplify your task, and you can do it better and faster. I was 6 or 7 living in Norway. The fire hydrants there were squarish and not red. I said they were stupid. My dad told me, no, they're not stupid, just different. Stuck with me to this day. I'm 37. I consider it one of the most important lessons I have ever learned. That's what I told my parents-in-law from Europe when they were visiting us in the US. They pointed out things that were wrong, but I told them it's just different. We went shopping, and my father-in-law tried on a coat. He said the zipper is on the wrong side, then he looked at me and said on the other side. Made my day. I was in my early 20s and driving across some barren portion of the US. The only radio station I could get was broadcasting religious programming. It was better than silence but just barely. One preacher was begging for money to help homeless girls. When a caller asked him about the danger of working at a shelter with atheists, his answer changed my life. I will work with anyone doing God's work no matter what their reason, as long as they are doing so. If they deviate, then I will no longer help, but until then we're on the same team. A decade later, when Hurricane Andrew leveled Homestead FL, 30 miles from where I lived, this atheist volunteered with a church group to get supplies where they were needed. They didn't judge who they helped, and neither did I. Eating a shitload may feel good in the moment, but take a look at how goddamn fat you are. Everyone else was too nice and kept telling me I looked fine despite being 250 plus lbs at 15. Yep. I asked for feedback on my OkCupid profile once and some internet stranger just said you are fat and it is a problem. I lost 80 pounds the next year, and though it stung in the moment, I owe it to that person. I was going through a deep depression about a year ago, and I was sitting on the patio of a bar in downtown Seattle feeling sorry for myself getting wasted. This older homeless man comes up to me and I dismissed him before he even opened his mouth. He ignored me and said in the deepest Russian accent, "Why you no smile? I lose my wife, my 3 sons, my home and money, but I smile because I won't give life the satisfaction of knowing it beat me." I finished my drink, went home, and pondered it all night. I now feel that way about everything that gets me down. It's not worth it to get upset, and I won't let life beat me. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.